We have just come from a festive season, and for some of us we wish that every day of the year was festive. For others, there is a sense of relief. Unfortunately, it was a time of great stress and conflicts, and now looks upon the festive season with lots of uncertainty and anxiety. In today's episode of the Marriage Classroom, we talk about family and festives.
Welcome to our class, Marriage Classroom. I believe that you've had a good time in a break. We last met, I think, 21. Yes, and so how has been the time? Maybe one of us, and within your family, how has it been? Pastor John.
It has been a good time. As we celebrated the festivities, Christmas and New Year.
Yes.
We thank God.
We thank God.
Yes. Okay,
and it's good to see all of you, and I believe our viewers, you also have had a good time, and we are back again and we are learning. And so today we are going to look at that time Pastor George has talked about, the festivities when we had and how they affect the families. Festivities, I hope that's how it is written. Yes, we had the time that we had either we ate, we celebrated with our friends and all that, and we want to ask ourselves, do these festivities or these times that we have affect marriages, or do they affect the relationships between man and the woman, that is husband and wife? Maybe I want to hear your opinion. Do you think they because they are there, and sometimes they can be a time of joy, it's also a time of celebrations, but do they have an effect, positive or negative? Yes?
Yes, they do. They have a negative effect if they are not properly regulated.
Okay.
Yes.
Such as, when we talk about negative effect?
Overspending.
Overspending?
Yes.
There are issues where the women, our wives, we go there, and we, the men, other than probably nyama choma, what we participating in chomaring the nyama, the women are the ones who are doing literally everything. They are the ones who are cooking, they are the ones who are washing the dishes, and because everybody is back home, what we regard as home, you realize that the cooking and the eating and everything is much more than she would be doing if she was in her own family cooking for the nuclear family. And therefore, instead of it being a time of joy, instead of it being a time of resting, it becomes a time of work and more work. And by the time that people are ending the festivities, she's already feeling tired and worn out. So it depends on what do we do during those activities.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Grace, you wanted to add something?
Pia unapata ya kwamba katika huu msimu wa festives unapata ndoa zingine zinavunjika. Because maybe the wife is so much wanting na kile ambacho anakitaka hakipatikani kwa wakati huo. So unapata kunakuwa na conflict.
Okay, thank you so much. But I believe that in everything, as we talk about it, can also have a positive and also a negative. So when we talk about festivities, when we're talking about family and festivities, we're talking about that time when people come together. So usually a festivity is a celebration of something in a joyful. So we're talking about anytime we have a celebration and we have a time of joyful, it is also joyful. That's why we are calling it festivity. So joyful and a celebration. And the problem is that we almost think that the celebrations must be done in one way, eating, drinking. But you can celebrate not even with yourself but with others. It can be a joyful time. You can even be a time of where you give to others. So it does not have to be like the celebration must be only with yourselves. But the good thing is that we are able to include others if they are our family, members. So it involves activities or events where people gather and they celebrate those occasions. So last time we had the last festivities, we had the New Year, the Christmas, and the New Year. So, but beyond this, I believe there are also other festivities that we can be able to celebrate. And as a family, I want to say this, as a couple or in marriage, it is important that these times of celebrations also be used to be able to enhance relationships, because they also have their good part. So, when we talk about gathering together, you realize even the Bible is, talks about it. When we read Psalms 133, and it's not a long verse, or it's not a long chapter, so it's just only 3 verses. I can read it. It says, or somebody who has opened it can read for us, verse 1 to 3.
Psalms 133.
Verse 1 to 3.
The Bible says, I'll read in Swahili.
Good. In fact, I wanted to say,
Tazama jinsi ilivyo vema na kupendeza ndugu wakae pamoja kwa umoja. Ni kama mafuta mazuri kichwani yashukayo ndevuni, ndevu za Haruni yashukayo mpaka upindo wa mavazi yake. Mstari wa 3, kama umande wa Hermoni ushukao milimani pa Sayuni, maana ndiko Bwana alikoamuru baraka, naam uzima hata milele.
Amina. Ni ya kwamba it is lovely when people or brethren live together or dwell together in unity. And so one of the purposes or what a celebration or that moment of festivity should be able to do is, now sometimes we can be very individualistic, living with only our children, our wives, and our husbands. There is that time now, brethren or brothers live together in unity. So they come and meet together. There is a time of celebration and a time of being able even to share what the Lord has done for each one of us. In many times before, it never used to be a time of where you compare this family and this other family. It was a time of people coming together and eating whatever is there. And people would be just so glad that they have met. So and so, unakutana, you just say, haya, when you are so and so, when you are antiwa, or if you are when you are so and so, you meet, and it's like all of a sudden you have met, people that you didn't know existed. You are relatives. So brothers living or brethren living together in unity. And that was a good thing. I hope it can be. So that when people meet, it is simply like, oh, we are related. Yes. We are brethren. Yes. You live in Nairobi, or you are in Mombasa, you are abroad. But it has, I hope you've seen the funny things that have been going on, or those, the clips that you see in WhatsApp and others, what Nairobi. It's making it funny. That there is the village versus the Nairobi. So you not even think it is your brother. It is not even your uncle. It is what Ushago versus what Nairobi. And it's like what Nairobi come to raid the village. That is what is not right. But we had, yes.
I think basically what you are trying, or rather what you are saying, is any time when there is preferential treatment of a member of the family.
Yes.
Whether it is during the festivities or not, what you've just said, what Nairobi, is where, the jokes that have been going on, ya kwamba this is for the people of Nairobi, but the rest is something of lesser value. So any time, even in our families, where there is, excuse me, where there is a preferential treatment of one or part of the members of the family, then it raises negative emotions.
Yes. And when people go to the village or meet together, whether I'm going to Nairobi, and the issue is now we are going to try and compare. Okay?
Yes.
There is the issue of where you try just to show this who we are versus you, and not people becoming members of the same family, whether big or small. Yes, Alan.
I think also an example. Some of those things might be jokes, but some are realities. For instance, I saw one of the fun story on the same. A person coming from Nairobi going down to the village. He goes with maybe 1 kilogram of sugar, 2 kgs of wheat flour. But akirudi, he comes with gunias of maize and whatever. So there's nothing you have taken home. It's literally rigging, just the way you have said. Umeenda kubeba tu vitu za ushago kapeleka Nairobi, but there's nothing good you have done to them because you have only taken 1 kg of sugar, 2 bags of wheat flour, 2 kilograms. But you see, you're coming to Nairobi with the whole bag of 50 kgs maize. So if they would have sold the maize, that angekuwa with more.
Yeah, they would even have bought that sugar and all that. Yeah. I think it's now it's been made a joke, but I think let's get the message, even for us who visit, because Nairobi is not the only town. Nakuru has become a city. So one of these days you might be going and then it will be again. And it's good also to think about them. What are you going to do? Why do you go for those festivities? Is it just a matter of just eating and drinking, or does it have another purpose? Yes.
But I think, except in the cases where this carrying of goods from the village is exaggerated, I think it meets the purpose of these people coming together and bonding.
Yes.
And you take what you have in Nairobi to the village, let me use Nairobi, and you carry what they have. Yeah. It is a time of exchange. And this one can also intensify that bonding, that there are no chicken in Nairobi, you don't rear chicken in Nairobi, you may come with some money and things that are found in Nairobi, yes, and go back to Nairobi with something. Yes. So it is not actually a time of taking things to the village, but it is a time of bonding.
Yes.
I can carry sugarcane from home because I don't grow sugarcane in town. So I think it meets the purpose of these people coming together and uniting.
And uniting.
Yes.
And if there is any issues of gifts, let there be also genuineness in this. That maybe I have my brother's kids, they are at home, they've been there, but I can afford some good clothes and bring them. But one thing is, I believe children will never forget such gifts. Even ile nguo niletewa na anko na nini and all that. And sometimes issues, those are things that used to happen. There will be always that time when you get a gift or a clothes, a dress from an auntie amekuja ametebea. You don't even remember that alibeba kuku. Yes. You only remember that you got a gift. You were brought a gift, because these are not the issues. But I think now the problem is that it has been not really working. Okay.
Those things we should not, looking at that scripture, how present it is for brethren to live together in unity. It is also, you realize that unlike when families used to live in the same area, right now people are living far apart.
Yes.
Such that, say for example, my children may never know their cousins.
True. Yes.
And therefore, it becomes a time whereby children can be able to learn, to bond. They can be able to know their other relatives, other than simply the nuclear family. True. So there are certain very good, positive things about it. If we were to be careful about how we go about these other things, I think, and as you said, if I go with a gift and I'm given gifts, that is part of what family is all about. True. But we should not lose the essence of that. But another thing that I wanted to point out, a negative, is you find particularly more so people who do not have their own private means of traveling to what they call Oshago. You find a situation whereby at that time, because of the demand for transport, public transport, the prices are the fares are extremely high. And at the same time, more often than not, the prices of goods is also extremely high. So sometimes, unless there is good planning, it can very much negatively impact on family finances.
True, true. So why should we benefit? That's what we were looking at, and maybe from what you said, we just summarize. The reason why people celebrate or have this type of festivities, one of the things is that it is a time to create enduring marital and family bonds. What happens when people visit and then you realize, oh, you mean you are my relative and we are not far from one another. Maybe I realize you stay, maybe you are in Jogo, and I didn't know, and I'm in Nakuru. So what happens? We start, after we have left there, we will start relating. So we get even family bonds created. Then even as a family, as you go and visit, and maybe here you are there introducing either your wife or your husband, maybe it is your first time. What happens? Now, they are able to recognize, and if they accept, then what happens? Even your marital bond is enhanced. You get the blessings, and maybe the shosho is so happy. Oh, my son, you have found somebody, and he's there very happy, you know. All of us, it's like, oh, grace has been accepted by my grandmom. And so what you do, you feel a part of that family. What happens? The family bonds strengthen. So, and it happens, it's very important when you go and introduce your husband or your wife and is accepted in that bigger family. You find you go back feeling you belong. So it's a moment. Another one, as we said, it strengthens also the bonds, what you call, we are creating, but also there is also the strengthening.
Yes.
We have some that we create that are new, because as you say, you meet so and so, oh, you're my cousin, you are my, and all that. So what happens? You create now.
Yes.
But then there are also those that you are able to strengthen. Why? You have always been told, Auntie so and so, then you meet and you realize, wow, she's so good, and she's even offered to help, and then you say, no, you realize, now you strengthen a bond that was weak because of that. And that's very important. Another one is, it's also an opportunity where people should share values and beliefs. And I wish Christians can take up this opportunity, because it is very important. You know, we go there and we shy away because we think, oh, people are going to think that we really are fanatics. But that's the time where you go and say, if they don't pray, you tell them, we are going to pray. And maybe before even we eat, can we share or briefly the word of God? We say we need to thank God. This is the end of the year. We had Corona, but we are all here, and can we have a time to thank God? What are you doing? You are sharing values. You are also sharing beliefs. But some of us, sometimes this is where we go wrong. We go to our corner, the separatist corner. You know, we are Christians. We don't do that. You know, they say, do you want to drink? Say, I'm sorry, I don't drink. Even you are apologizing. Say, you can say, I'm happy, I don't drink. But I drink the Holy Spirit. And they say, oh, but you see, when they see you part of it, and you are not apologetic, they might think, oh, this person has another wine. We need to know. You see, the Bible talks about, you have made me glad more than when their wine is increased. In that time of festivities, your wine should overflow, because theirs is when they are corn and their wine is increased, but yours is all time. You're always drunk with wine of the Holy Spirit, okay? So it's very important. Let's take that opportunity to share our values. And even our children, even as much as they are there, they may see others, wengine wanasikia, wengine wakitukana, and for you, you know very well, akisema kitu wanajua. Lakini wanaona wengine wanaitana pusi au nini, kuku, na hawachunwi. You need to tell them that is wrong. Even they just say, by the way, that is not right. So what are you doing? You are also showing the beliefs. Okay, sharing them. Yes, Alan.
When you're sharing your beliefs and values, at that time, just the way you have said, they will want to know which one are you taking. And when they discover it's about Christ, you will end up winning souls for Christ. So you become an ambassador of Christ back at home.
Yes, that is very important. And that's why you should not miss. You know, sometimes Christians will say, me, I don't go. I want to go there. They always do this. Now you are the one who is supposed to be there. In fact, if they don't meet, organize for them. You can, if God gives you money, even say, you don't even have to contribute. Come to my place. I am going to do this. And the reason is, you want to share your faith. Yes, Lev.
I also believe that that festivity time is a very good time to take challenges. Because, for example, when I meet with my cousins that have succeeded in one or two things, wananitia changamoto na ningependa kujua, how did you get there? How did you get, naona umekuja na gari raundi hii, how did you make it? And therefore, I will take it as a challenge to continue pressing on, maybe to that level where he is or that I desire. So I think it is also a good time for challenges, taking challenges, so that you can also improve on your life. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. And then another one is that also it's a time also of showing appreciation, gratitude, and thoughtfulness. You know, when I come home and I have a good gift for my father or my brother's kids, or I brought this, what happens? People know, even when you're far away, you think about us. Okay? If it is, and I'm saying the festivities should not only be limited here. I would want to say that even when it comes some of even these festivities like New Year, we have what? Madaraka Day. Yes. We have Easter. Valentine. We also have birthdays. Yes. We have anniversaries. That is the time even as a couple to, you just surprise him. He's not remember, sometimes men forget their birthdays. Now, their own. So that means it's hard even to remember yours. So what you do, take yours, take his. And that time, surprise him. And if you want him to remember, give a hint. Sometimes we say subtle hints don't work. But somehow you can say, hey, when do you think is my birthday? Maybe 2 days. He may even forget when it comes to that day. But still remind him if you want a surprise. So anytime, okay, those are things that you realize. You don't keep saying, you forgot my birthday. Yes, they do forget. Even their own. True or not? True. True. Yes, so when sasa unasema kubuke yako hata yake so you do this, try to, if you possible, if you can put them like on a billboard, you can, in your family, you can. So those are times where if people get gifts, they know you think about them. There is the thoughtfulness, there is the gratitude, okay? And it's very important. And the last one, not the only one, is that it also helps to create what we call family traditions. And, those are things as a family. If your children grow up knowing, we always celebrate Easter this way. We always celebrate birthdays this way. So what are we doing? We are creating even family traditions. And it's very important. And this is key as a family, as a couple. I know there is the festivities of the bigger family. But I wish before even you are fixed and you are told, we always meet in Christmas. On Christmas, if you can decide for yourself as a couple what you'd want. Because you see, let's say that in Grace's place, all of them meet in December 25. And you all have always been meeting 25th December. You have married. Where will you go? Grace says we must go to a place. And then you say, no, we must go to a place. It is the woman or the wife who comes. So you see now that has been it's a source of conflict. Yes. Now sit down and ask yourself, okay, you want to go there, and now you can't just say, where will kieda kwenu? I mean kieda kwetu. Now that one again, you are not solving the problem. Yes. So you must decide So we have to make our own family traditions. So what about if you decide this time here and the next time here? Or we can even, because okay, it's also good to be part of that other family. We don't want just to say me, mine, and mine personally. Because at the time it comes, you'll find you need this family. It is blessed and lovely for brothers to live together in unity. So, any question? We have not looked at the disadvantages, because this is what I want us to do for discussions. What are those disadvantages of festivities, and what are those important things that we need to remember anytime we are organizing for any holiday or festivity? Even when you are planning for a birthday, and you find somebody wants to come, you come to my birthday, come with 22.6 M or a million to attend my birthday. So would you want to organize one for your husband for 100K? That is now where you have to. So any question or something that you need to add on the benefits of celebrating? Yes.
I think in the area of appreciations, when you have those festivities,
Yes.
The bond of love, when you appreciate each other,
Yes.
when you give those gifts, you create new relationships
Yes.
that are more bound with love. Because when you depart from that same place,
Yes.
you will remember somebody gave me a gift,
Yes.
and now you start relating newly, which is right.
True,
Yeah.
true. Again, thank you. Again, also, I remember that even though we are spending, it's very important. I hope you realize it is not good when you have worked the whole year like like a squirrel, just digging holes, and then you have no time to eat what you have been digging. Okay? So sometimes we feel like it's so painful to spend some amount and we just don't want to. We feel like we want to always spend it. But I'm not saying we overspend, because we must think again, and maybe the school and everything. But it is also important. It is important to celebrate. You look at the Bible. It has so many times when there was celebrations. There was the time of Feast of the Sheaves, okay? They have harvested the wheat, and there was that time of the barley harvest, the wheat harvest. There was a time for the time they are celebrating when they have the wine press and all that. What I'm saying is the celebrations are very important. They are not evil.
Yes.
If they can be used as a means of enhancing those family bonds and a time of where brethren live together in harmony. Yes, it's also
pia ni wakati wa kucelebrate the achieves, maybe the achieves of the year. Mlikuwa mmepanga mwaka huu tunafanya hivi.
Yes.
You sit down and celebrate, wow, we have made it.
We have made it.
Through the year we have made it. So
We
it's
planned
good
this
also
and we have.
to celebrate the achieves.
Yes, we
of
have people who have done well. One was studying, I'm a graduate. And it's good to thank God, even to have a time and have a party.
So that means it is a time of appreciating myself before I appreciate others.
Yeah, tunasema inaweza kuwa wakati wa kujipea pole.
Kujipatia pole.
Kupea mwili
You
pole.
have worked so
You
hard
have worked
this
so
year.
hard,
So
like a gaturu, you have dug so many holes.
yeah.
So how much have you gathered?
I would also think that like the new year, it is also a time of reflection.
Yes.
Where you reflect back and see for the 12 months what you've been, what God has enabled you to do,
Yes.
and what you have not done as well, so that you can now get to resolutions, being properly informed.
That's very good.
Yes.
We'll be looking at how we make next lesson,
Yes.
how we make those resolutions and how we make them last, so that we can have time to celebrate.
Yes.
Because if we don't achieve, then you may realize sometimes you look back with regret. We call it despair, because we see we have lost opportunities. We said we are going to do this, we didn't. Yes, so, yes, Malim, as we conclude.
I think there is something that has been mentioned that needs to also to be kind of emphasized. that when we are talking about these activities, it's not only the family coming together. There can be the family going out.
Yes.
Probably, and sometimes you mentioned something to do with the spending,
Yes.
not necessarily overspending, but there is time to actually be there together with the family. Probably there is a place that you've never gone to, you have never visited Masai Mara. That is a time to visit Masai Mara and see God's creations. You've never gone to Mombasa, you take the SGR now and go to Mombasa. So basically, it is important for us, that time creates a bonding. And somebody one time told us something that is very critical. Learn to spend part of your money. Because even if you keep it all in the account and you don't spend it, your next of kin will.
You spend it.
Yes, once you're gone.
And now, he's not going to do it in small amounts. It will be in gulps and how much he can eat. Thank you so much. We are going to have some few minutes of discussion, class discussion, because we have not looked at the negatives. And I want us to summarize. And then also, what should we consider now when we are planning for a holiday or a festivity? Yes.
What should we consider when planning for festivities to avoid conflicts and uncertainties? Psalms 133 verse 1 says, "Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity." In today's discussion during the break,
we have been looking at festivities and the effect on the family. And we looked at the positives, that it is a time of sharing, a time of bonding, a time of creating new bonds, and even a time of showing appreciation and all that. And but we also know that the festivities have been used, or those times have also caused some family conflicts. And especially we are talking about now the marriage or this couple and the family, what you call the nuclear family. What effect, negative effect, can come out from a festivity that was never intended? Because we've realized that the intention was good, isn't it? It started well, and I hope we can be able to go back and see what was good in it so that we can carry over. And that which is bad, which we're going to look at and see how we can also remedy it. Because if it deteriorates, then it will have no use. So maybe, yes.
I think there are some things that depend on the attitude with which we go to those festivities. One of them is where there is competition. Because cousin so-and-so came driving this kind of a car, I must also show, to the extent where somebody mentioned, whereby you go hiring a bigger vehicle, which probably you did not need at that particular time, simply kind of a show off, you know, to show off that you're also making it in life. That itself can be a bit of a negative. Another negative thing, maybe I mentioned just three, and a second one is where those who, you know, people used to get married at a much early age there before. But because of the issues that we are having in life, going to school, some of them finishing their first degree, going for masters and so on, we are finding, particularly more so the you know, people getting older and older, the age of marriage becoming older and older. And somebody is reaching that, and there is so much pressure on the singles, such that when they come for that family gathering, hujapata mtu, that kind of thing, there is so much pressure on them. We are not even considering the biblical position that somebody could be called to singlehood. So we are just putting so much pressure until it has come to a time. I have had this in the social media, I don't know how true it is, where somebody is hiring somebody to go and take them for those family festivities, so that aonekane hata yeye ako na mtu. So that in itself can be something that is negative. You mentioned sometimes back things like people are doing things which you normally don't do in your family. Like, for example, you don't drink beer, and now here is a situation whereby people are drinking beer. I still remember personally when our child was about 1 or 2 years. I can't remember. I think 2 years, yeah? 2 years old, our firstborn. And we went home, and my brother was smoking. So, one evening, the boy comes out and sees Of course, he would not smoke where we are. He would go out there and smoke. My son comes out and sees the uncle smoking. And then comes back running and tells the mother, Mami, baba mkubwa anakula moto. And now, you know, it now sets you to a time where you start explaining things that probably the child has never seen. So some of these things and activities that you have there can also end up being somehow a bit of a negative.
Because you would look like a hero. I mean, to a small child, how do you eat fire? Because, you know, he could see now the part of the shine, you know, the one which is lit, and then the smoke is coming out of its nostrils. He looked like he's a dragon eating fire. So for a child who does not know that this is smoking, for them is anakura moto. So imagine now if, now for him he may say, if I grow up I would want to do that. Yes, kula moto.
Okay. Kuna hii ambayo kitambo watu walikuwa wanakutana pamoja, wanakula pamoja, wanajuana. But you see nowadays people are not meeting the way we were meeting there before. So siku hizi kunatokea mambo ya cousins kuoana. Kwa sababu ya watu kutokutana katika hizi festivals. Because mimi ninakumbuka in my family we used to meet every December. My father was a polygamist, so we were tulikuwa wengi. And we could meet, we meet the children's ambao were bigger brothers, we know each other. But unapata like nowadays we don't meet. Some of us even don't know the smaller kids. So unapata issues zinatokea ambazo they are not godly. Na ni kwa sababu ya the one that you have said about the family traditions. Tumeziacha, kama jamii wengi tumeziacha. So unapata kuna issues ambazo zinatokea ambazo hazina uungu ndani yake. Yes. And
that one is very serious. You know, as much as it looks like it has not happened, it has happened. You see children now with the universities, they are everywhere. And now you, like us, we are 7 ladies. Now let's say we are dispersed in every part of this country. Our children go to school, and then after that, they go to the university. And you know what happens? Sometimes we attract what you call your kind of person. You look at a person who almost has your nose. You know, somehow it's like you get a reflection of yourself, and you never know that sometimes it can be a relative. Only later to realize the person you are attracted to, you are related. It can be very disastrous. Yes, Constance.
Na tena unapata hii mambo ya ni negative, ni moja ya negative kwa sababu unapata tuko na ngoma juu na tuko na NJERI amefika. Na wakishafika wao wanachaguliwa soda ile mzuri kwa sherehe. Mimi naekewa hata kuku, unaona tunaekewa makucha, lakini wao wanaekewa ile mzuri. Unadhani next time tutarudi? So that one is nyingine hata wanafaa wanaangalia sana. Tusikue side moja sana, wale wamekuja mzuri, wenye wamekuja wamekuwa fully packed ndio wanaangaliwa sana, na wale wengine pande ingine hatuangaliwi. Sasa tukienda hivyo next round hata mkiitana hatutakuja. So hiyo ndio imechangia tena festive ikaanza kukua sira. Unajifungia kwa nyumba kwako.
And the preference where so and so has come, it's like all of you move because so and so has come and amekuja hivi, and I think that is very unfortunate, and because in way parents sometimes have favored children because huyu amefanya hivi, huyu amefanya hivi, and yet we find our children are not the same, they are not endowed the same. Yes, let's hear from Reverend Alan. Yes.
I think one of the other negative effect or negative result from these festivities, it can be a beginning of low self-esteem. Where I get to the village and you find that your age mate, maybe your cousin, has so much achievements than you do, and you start hating yourself and asking yourself, nini sasa kwani mimi ni mtu wa aina gani? Kwa sababu huyu hata watoto wake wamewekwa vizuri, wamekula vizuri, wanasoma vizuri, lakini wangu hasomi kama wake. So it can be a source of, and this one is the one that brings these gatherings to continue losing taste because last time I went and found that almost all of them wako na achievement kubwa kubwa, na wengine hata watasema oh, mimi hata nilikuwa nimepanga hii sherehe, I had prepared 300,000 to spend, na wewe wakati huo fare hukuwa, ulibebwa na lift, na wengine hata unangojea mwenye atakuwa akiendea njia ile unatumia akupatie lift back home.
And the problem is now when it comes now to you as a couple,
yes,
when now start asking, sasa wewe
unaona kazini
yako, brother yako, na mlianzia pamoja, wewe hata umesoma kuliko yeye,
yes,
when what is wrong, when wewe ufikiriagi vile wana.
And you see we are in different seasons. Wakati mwingine anapanda mlima ndio mwingine anateremka. So you cannot compare yourself, or you cannot be equal all the time. Sometimes huyu wakati anapanda mwenzake anateremka. But it can be a source of low self-esteem.
Yes, Alan and then us.
Okay. We must also recognize the fact that there are some communities or families that are coming from a polygamous family. And you find out that maybe that polygamous families are living together in the same homestead. So an issue of prejudice and humiliation can also arise, such that maybe one part of the family in the polygamy, they have excelled so well, the way she said, mambo ya kushushwa chini. They might be highly excelling, maybe in academics or whatever achievements, but the other part maybe they are struggling. So you can imagine gathering, celebrating, having those nice moments with your immediate family, and there is a polygamous family just adjacent to you. So they will feel it. It will hurt them, or some of them might even, think you are trying to humiliate them, to prejudice them, but which is not. So maybe unless there is a factor that brings them, all of them together. Not actually thinking about these are not ours, whatever. That unifying factor should be brought in.
We must look for what can unify us more than that which can divide us. And that's very important. We need to understand that we have many things that we can do to make these festivities meaningful. One of the things to remember is this, that when we are planning for a festivity or a holiday, we must make the holiday, the times enjoyable, or we purpose to make them enjoyable and memorable. Now, why should they be memorable? And why should they be enjoyable? Because we are not only thinking about ourselves, we also think about the other person. Okay? If it is you as a family, let's say you decide this time we are going as a family to visit grandma, or we are going to take we are going to go and visit a park, or we are going to go and visit a children's home. What is your aim? It is also that even your children, it's memorable and also it is enjoyable. The other thing is balance and negotiate your traditions as a family together with the larger family traditions, or what they do. The issue is this. We have said as a family, so that there is no this issue of conflict and all that, we want to go to this place, no, tutakwenda kwetu. You can decide first. Let's first negotiate ours before we plug into the larger family. We have already become a family. Me and my wife, me and my husband. And let's see what can. Then after that, concentrate on the time spent together than the amount of money spent. Tusiwe tu tukiangalia ile pesa yote tumetumia kwenda kwenu au kwenda kwa wazazi wenu, or to do this. What about the time spent together? As we say, aiming to make them enjoyable and memorable. Then the other thing is, and very important, as Christians, let Christ be the center. And as we say, to be the honored guest in all our planning and celebrations. That we should never forget as Christians. Because if it is going to be for good, then you realize, if it doesn't honor Christ, you will come back and you realize you are worse off than you left. Okay? But when you go there realizing, okay, there is this a challenge, I'm going to meet with very many people and different, even in values and traditions and even beliefs. But I'm going there as an ambassador of Christ, like one of us said, an ambassador. What I'm going to do, I am going to represent Christ. And you can make them memorable and enjoyable. And look forward again, even to be a witness for Christ. Because wengine wataokoka, ukitaka kujua next time how they are going on with their family. Yeah.
I think it is also important to avoid those issues of competition and so on. I think it's good to appreciate if, say for example, my brother or my cousin has been blessed in a way that I've not been blessed. As Pastor George has said, maybe it is his season, and probably my season is coming. And what the Bible says in the book of Romans, that rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who are mourning. If there is some sadness in the family, let us participate in it. But if at all there is some rejoicing, somebody has been blessed with a car while I'm still walking on 2x2, let me celebrate that person who has been blessed with a car. So basically, let there not be a competitive spirit, but let us rejoice. When my brother has been blessed, when my cousin has been blessed, more than I have been blessed, let us rejoice.
I have seen some people maybe take high advance, maybe as a family to go visit places like game parks and so on. And that one, I think it will put a balance to them that are driving and them that are not, because they are in the same vans, and these vans are out there for hire. Where we take a van maybe of 33-seater, we are so many of us, the grandma is there, the grandfather, and everybody else, rather than taking our private cars, because someone may be driving himself alone, whereas the rest are stranded on what vehicle to use, maybe to go and visit such a place. So I think together with what the Mwalimu has said, inaweza leta hiyo balance ya kwamba we are one people, we are doing it together according to Psalms 133.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the discussions can continue out of the class and as well, even at home, because we also need as a family to ask ourselves, how did we celebrate and how did it affect us? Thank you so much. God bless you, our viewers, and thank you for being good students in class. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Stay tuned for the next lesson to learn about how to plan and make New Year resolutions. To get the notes of today's lesson, visit www.mbcimedia.com/TMC. Catch the repeat of the Marriage Classroom every Tuesday at 10 p.m.